What we are about to show you will break your heart and give you a visual of a reality you won't find elsewhere. This is David Dorn in his very last moments on Earth. He's bleeding to death on a sidewalk in front of a looted shop. He's a former police captain protecting a store. His name, David Dorn. He was 77. His death filmed on Facebook Live. He was a black man, a family man, a good man. Black lives matter, but not to looters, rioters, and agitators. Shall we blame this on systemic racism? Who shot him? Who knows? A stranger? Maybe Seth Rogen or Patton Oswalt already bailed him out. Here are words from Mr. Dorn's family.
It was censored over TVs, over stuff that's replaceable. And they're forgetting the real message for the protests and the positiveness that's supposed to come out of it. And we get this negative light that's shown on a situation that really needed light to be brought to it. I just hope that the person that did this, that they come forward or whatever, because this is just so senseless. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired.
Fact is, fealty to the mob begets only more of the mob. Redefining bloodlust as justified leads to death. And not just Mr. Dorn's, but a country's too. Yesterday was Blackout Tuesday, when virtue signalers set their Instagrams to all black to support the protests. What an analogy for the media. The media blacks out the violence to hide their culpability, which protects incompetent leaders and criminals and an army of cowardly journalists. Their job, keep the chaos on endless repeat. Maybe Mr. Dorn's death can change things. Maybe we can protest loudly in his name and loudly demand action. It's time, because there's no Superman coming to save the day for us. There's no one but us. And to quote a CNN anchor, who says protest needs to be peaceful?
Please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful, because I can show you that outraged citizens are the ones who have made America what she is and led to any major milestones. Be honest, this is not a tranquil time.
No thanks to you. As cities are ravaged, he says protests don't have to be peaceful. Chris, I invite you to meet me in my neighborhood to see what outrage created. The ravaged stores, the dead-eyed looks from people trying to salvage what's left of their lives. If only they could work in media and see the silver lining in their ruin. This is not a tranquil time. Thanks for the honesty, Chris. You know, Juan, there's so many disturbing parts to this. I mean, this is obviously a black man who probably helped many people in black communities throughout his life, murdered by a looter, and they filmed it. You didn't see anybody helping him. You just saw his body bleeding out and people filming it.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrific. I don't think there's anything to say but that this is a horror show. You know, it's and the idea of the social media, and even I think somebody was saying, you know, hang in there, you know, OG, like old gangster, you know, like someone was trying. But to me, I'm just glad that it was removed, because it's a human being. And so the people who did this, Greg, should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law as criminals and having taken a good man's life. I don't think there's any way to get around that. Now, let me say, I do have another viewpoint on this, which is that, you know, we're discussing his death, but we didn't discuss something like Breonna Taylor, the woman who was 26-year-old, shot 8 times in her bed as police execute a no-knock warrant and just rush into her house. It turned out to be the wrong house, but they killed this 26-year-old in her bed. And we don't talk about it, and I think that for lots of people, this amounts then to selective moral outrage. You know, everybody picks a case and says, well, I want to look at that one. Well, why haven't we seen more discussion, not only of Breonna Taylor? Remember, it took 2 months to have a discussion of that Georgia jogger, and if it wasn't for the video, that case might have been swept under the rug. So I think that you see a lot of peaceful demonstrators And for the most part, peaceful demonstrators are the story here. There are looters, there are vandals, there are people like those who killed the man in St. Louis. But for most people, there's just a sense of frustration of what does it take to get justice? Do you have to have the video before someone believes you? Do you have to have international protests to get the criminal justice system to understand that people, black people, are being treated in an unjust manner?
I honestly can't believe you said that after we have spent over 10 days or so talking about Mr. Floyd, in which everybody is in agreement about the horrendous death. We have covered these injustices regularly. You know what? There was an elderly couple, Juan, that was executed at a veteran cemetery by a black man who then died in a forest. No one dared cover that. An elderly couple visiting their son at a cemetery. So we can sit here and you can take this story and shift it into a tit for tat. That's not what it's about. This segment is not about injustice. It is about a man's death. All right. I didn't see this story anywhere except online. Let me move on, okay? I want to get other people in. Dana, I did not see this story anywhere on the other networks but online. Why do you think that is? Do you think this isn't important to them?
Well, I think that I don't know what's in their minds, but of course, like whatever ends up on the front page or whatever ends up on air is definitely an editorial decision, and somebody is making that decision and deciding that there's so much news we could cover, and they're saying, okay, like this news is more important to us. And look, we're all drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot of news out there, but there's 2 points I'd like to make on this. One, I think the fact that there were not police out and about in order to protect innocent people from these looters, these rioters, the arsonists, the people that would commit this violence, that is a horrible thing, because this man, Mr. Dorn, he obviously served his community as a public servant, paid his taxes. He was 77-year-old, and then they would talk about heartbreaking, listening to his daughter-in-law begging for justice in this case and saying that she's exhausted. And I think we can relate to that. I also just wanted to point out one other thing, Greg. It was devastating to see that there's GoFundMe accounts for lots of different people, right? So David Dorn has one, and David Underwood, he was killed in Los Angeles. They're at about, $50,000 or so, right? The Minneapolis Freedom Fund is at $20 million. This is driven by celebrities, and that is a bail fund that does not distinguish between people who are arrested for protesting and people that were arrested for bigger crimes like looting and vandalism. So celebrities are bailing out them. Okay, fine, you can do that. But what does it say as a society? That these men are not being supported as well, and their families.
Yeah, Jesse, do you think that CNN has a problem showing stuff like this because they've defended Antifa? They say nonviolent protests, non-peaceful protests, what's wrong with that? So when they can't show the consequences because they're culpable.
Yeah, it's like hiding exculpatory evidence, They do that in order to shape the narrative when it doesn't fit what the truth actually is. The point is this, Greg. Black lives matter. Do they matter less when a black man takes that life? Or do black lives matter more when a white person takes that life? No. All black lives matter equally, no matter who takes it. Yet we only see this nationwide outrage when there's an incident of a white person taking the life of a black man. And that's done, and you've talked about it, we've talked about it, by the Democrat media, corporate power structure, and they do that to divide, they do it for profit, they do it to distract so they can put their hands in people's pockets and keep their positions of power. Because what did the president say last week? When the looting starts, the shooting starts. This is a perfect example of that. And the mayor of St. Louis, she's not totally responsible for this, the looters that did this to this guy are, but she didn't protect the community from these looters, and that's what happens when there's looting. There's death. So that's on her to a certain extent.
Last word to you, Lawrence. I'm sure this is... But anyway, go ahead.
It's It's just devastating because I feel like there has now become this competition for what life matters the most. Can we just like all stand up for life? Like, and just say people that are innocent, that are killed, we stand with the families, that we want to go after the bad guys that do it. You know, I'm afraid because this reminds me back in July 7th, 2016, where 5 cops were shot. And the guy that assassinated him, I had the exclusive interview with their family. And the family told me that he was upset about a traffic stop. And he goes up there and tries to do vigilante justice and kills 5 cops. You know what? It wasn't just that he killed 5 cops because you killed someone, but the 5 cops that he targeted were community police, that people loved and respected in the community, that were on the task force to bring people together. And you went out there and you shot them. That's what happened when chaos happens. And I'm afraid that America is on fire right now. I love this country. It's the greatest country in the world. But I want equal justice, and I think we should all be outraged when an innocent American, whether it's someone that wears blue or someone with a hoodie on or someone that just from a drive-by, we should always be outraged when one of our family members dies.
Yeah. All right.